Hello and welcome to another edition of the Sports Resort. This is your home for all things sports. I'm your host, Gannon and Toby, here with my co-host, Toby. And the APB is finally canceled off for Connor after missing like 85 episodes in a row. He is here and he is alive. I don't know if Manatee is alive just yet. Wait a minute. Live on the podcast, Montae is showing up. We're just trying to get him because there he is.
The humanity.
The whole squad is here.
I ain't seen my boys in forever. Toby, did you shave?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
That's how long it's been.
Episode 48. You guys are in for a treat. We got the whole crew on here. I want to welcome you guys in. So much sports to get you guys caught up on. A lot of drama in the free agency world in the NBA. Of course, we have a full recap of what went down in Tokyo for the 2020 Olympics. NFL continues to gain a lot of news, and this week we're breaking down our top 10 safeties. Connor and Monty both are just joining. Make sure you guys have that list by the time we get to that segment. We will break that down along with CBS Sports. We'll do another MLB update to get you guys all caught up as we are just only one full month remains in the MLB season before postseason play gets started. So we got the rest of this month, all of September, and then October baseball will be upon us. So lots of things to cover here. Before we get started, for our two absentees for 85 months, how's it going, guys?
Hey, I'm doing what? I ain't working for free. Life's good. Just got back from vacation. Start a new job on Wednesday. Can't complain about too much.
Yeah.
All right, moving up in the world. Connor, working for free?
Not for much longer. Tomorrow's the last day. It's almost at an end.
There you go. You got a job lined up that's going to get you some money?
Absolutely not.
All right. Didn't expect anything else.
My man said absolutely. He didn't even say no. He said absolutely.
Wouldn't have expected any other answer from our guy, so let's send prayers his way.
Bro, I'm just waiting on that lottery to hit.
Oh, man.
Connor hoping we go back in lockdown. He got a stimulus check.
Bro, I got like half a stimulus check one time. And then
You got half?
You didn't even get the full time.
yeah, bro. They hoeing me.
Oh, my God.
They don't want to see me be great. They know I'd put it all on red at the casino, double my money. They knew it was up. They had to stop me.
Okay, so then you should have got a fourth.
So if you won the lottery, you would go blow it?
Nah, if I won the lottery, I'd put it all on red, double my money. Then I'd put it all on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, triple my money, go back, put it all on black.
You wouldn't even double your money with that bet, I don't think.
Yeah, what?
Nah, I'd probably make like half of it back. Well, I'd make it all back and then like an extra half or something like that.
Well,
no, I don't think
we'll get into all the odds as we get
closer, buy a haircut.
As we get closer to the NFL season. We'll get into all the odds of who has the chance of winning what. Connor, you're not winning as much money as you think if you're going to put money on the Chiefs, as they're the second highest favorite. In fact, I think they might be the highest.
They're the first, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think most.
So you might actually be in danger of losing money on that bet.
Yeah.
Well, some dude just dropped like $30K on the Buccaneers to go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl.
Oh well.
He's gonna lose that.
Well, RIP his money, but hey, I'm not gonna tell you how to spend your own money. But I will tell you how to spend your time listening to the Sports Resort, because up next we got our first segment titled "What Is You Doing?" highlighting some of the biggest idiots in the world of sports. Toby and I have gone several times, so I'll turn it over to Connor or Monte to get us started for our "What Is You Doing?" from this past week.
Ooh, that's a lot of stupid things going on. Well, I mean, we can start with the end of the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma deciding that they want to jump ship from the Big 12 and go to the SEC, which, I mean, I ain't mad at. Everybody doing backdoor deals, so I ain't too upset about it. I just hope KU does something that resembles joining a Power 5 conference, because that's my only hope. So it's really a what is you doing for the Big 12? Like, they're going to let Texas control everything. They barely beaten TCU nowadays, so they're the wrong ones to be in charge of, who gets in, who gets out, and the money and everything. If anything, the Longhorn Network need to be the Sooner Network because they're the only ones winning anything in football, which is, that basically rules college sports for the most part. So what was you doing to the Big 12? Because now y'all going to scramble. Y'all going to add some teams that y'all should have been adding, or we're going to see the Big 12 basically disappear either the end of this season or next calendar year.
Not bad. So my what is you doing is gonna have to be pretty much just it's what it's been a few times. Just the if my what is you doing is goes to all the 35-plus-year-olds in the NBA who just decide that they don't need more money, so they'll just go set up 2 teams in the NBA and that's it. So now we basically, if you're 35 or older and you don't have a ring yet, you just go chase one now. It's gotten a little out of control. I don't even care what team they go to. Like, I know I've made fun of the Lakers a lot, but it's not even a Lakers issue for me. It's more of just a mentality issue, I think, because it's happening on the Nets too. You have like Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony now, Russell Westbrook, Marc Gasol, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. All these old guys are just like, well, I don't have a ring yet, so I might as well go join one of 2 teams and see if I can get lucky with that 50-50 shot. Or they'll go to the Heat and make it one of like 3 teams. So for me, it's more of just a mentality issue with the NBA is my what is you doing? Just because you don't really see that in other sports to this just open and obvious ring chasing. So that's my what is you doing? Just
What do you expect them to do? You don't want them to go places to win?
I don't expect them to take the veteran minimum. I expect them to actually try to make money. Just instead of just
the veteran minimum is like $2 million. That's more than all of us got right now.
Yeah, they could go make $15 million somewhere, but instead they're taking this $1.8 million or whatever it is.
They've made their money.
They have.
Who's giving Carmelo Anthony $15 million?
And that's why I'm saying it's just like a mentality of what are you doing? Not that like I would probably do the same thing maybe in that situation if I had that much money, but I just think it's just gotten to the point where the NBA is so much different than these other sports now, where it's just like screw money, I'm just gonna go join a super team. When in other sports you still have that make as much money as you can before you retire mentality. Or you get people like Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal who just refuse to leave no matter how bad the situation gets, which is probably also not great.
About that.
Yeah, but it's kind of nice to see at the same time. So it's kind of like a balance to all this super team stuff. But it is getting a little out of control. Now you have basically 2 teams competing for the title, and that's it. There might be an upset again. The Nets did lose, but that mainly was because of injuries, not because of a lack of performance. So, we'll see.
Toby?
What is you doing? And I can say this now that we've won the overall gold medals, and I don't feel like I'm jinxing anything. The USA men's 4x100 team.
Oh, you took mine.
Who cannot, and I don't know why, they can't pass baton. And I will give them a little bit benefit of the doubt because all those guys who ran in the 200 meters would have been running for the 4x100 team, but they couldn't. They just ran the 200-meter final earlier. So they said, we can send out the reserves, still qualify for the semifinals, then let the big horses bring it in. But we cannot pass a baton. That's why what is you doing? I don't even have anything to add. Montae's track and field expert. I'll let him take it away, but
so USA track and field basically screwed all of the Olympic athletes. Italy sent their athletes to Tokyo like 15 days before the Olympics even started. So that's like the opening ceremony. They sent them 15 days before the opening ceremony. USA track and field showed up to Tokyo 2 days before track and field event started. So they had essentially no practice time because you had to go over there and do all the COVID testing stuff and all that good jazz. And then you're essentially talking about no real practice time, because the Worlds and the Olympic qualifiers were so close to the Olympics this year, which usually it doesn't happen like that. So they basically sent all the USA track and field athletes off their own training to what? I mean, it's like a 13-hour time difference, something like that. And then said, hey, go run.
Listen,
I
hear that. That is still no excuse. This is something you train for your entire life. You've passed the baton no matter how. I understand it is a chemistry thing. I ran track myself. It is a chemistry thing, and it takes a lot of practice. But what in the heck, man? How is this not even a yearly thing? This is an evently thing. We cannot get this right, no matter what year, no matter where we're at, no matter the stage.
I mean, a little bit of it was the gold medals that they were, especially on the men's side, the gold medals that they were supposed to bring home, they didn't. The 200, we had the fastest times going into that. None of them got gold. The 100, the top runner didn't even make the final. Italy won the 100-meter dash. Like, no offense to them. And I know Connor was hyped because he's anti-American. But
bro, I was cheering for us when we won the overall medal count. I was even talking about it.
We talking about your little rain dance you did when Italy won the 100-meter final.
Rain dance.
Yeah, I was pumped that the country I lived in for a little bit won. Like, they don't really ever win. No one wins that except America and Jamaica, so it was cool to see Italy win.
What's on your birth certificate?
Well, let's see here.
I mean, I was cheering for America, but when America wasn't even an option.
No, it's us first.
America wasn't second. America was not second. So it wasn't
us
like
versus everybody.
For my what is you doing, speaking of people who America not being in second, I want to know what are all the women doing who compete in the 800-meter freestyle for swimming? Why does Katie Ledecky own all 12 of the top recorded times ever in that event?
Dude, she's the female Michael Phelps. She's the female Michael
12. She owns the top 12 ever recorded in the same event. What are any of you other women doing? How does one woman own the top 12? That is unbelievable. That is even as like dominant as Usain Bolt was, as dominant as Michael Phelps were. Neither of them had the top 12 best recorded times ever. That is beyond a league of her own. Big shout out to Katie Ledecky. What is the rest of y'all doing? How can no one? Is that enough that you don't beat her, or you get, you don't outpace her or whatever? How does she individually have the top 12 ever recorded in history? That is insane. Big shout out to her. What are y'all doing in that aspect of the sport?
They're not swimming, I can tell you that.
They're not doing anything. It ain't freestyle, I can tell you that. That's unreal. But I'm glad we kind of went this direction with all this Olympics talk, because that leads us right into our first topic. Obviously, the Olympics are now over, with the United States by far dominating in all facets, not in all events, but overall events. As USA brought home the most overall medals with 113. They had the most gold, the most silver, and the most bronze. They edged out China by just one gold medal, winning 39 to China's 38. China, of course, was second in overall medals as well as second in gold. Finishing out in third far as gold, Japan was third, the host country, but Russia was third in overall total medal counts.
Russian Olympic Committee.
Yeah, the Russian.
Do not give them any credit.
Yeah,
they deserve nothing.
That was kind of odd to me.
And
they were so specific about that. The ROC rather than actually Russia as a country. It's just straight up ROC. Either way, those were the top three teams, with Japan getting third in gold medals, but ROC getting third in overall. Obviously there was quite a bit of highlights all throughout. I think overall Japan did a great job hosting. I didn't hear too many crazy things about them being an issue as a host nation. I thought it overall went well. I will say there was a significant drop in ratings as far as people watching this year's Olympics. I do think the time difference had a big reason for that, but just overall, it was large. I think it was something like, I heard it was between 35 and like 45% down from usual. So pushing almost half of their usual audience was pretty down. I don't know how much you guys got to watch the Olympics. What were some of your guys' like biggest takeaways, best moments, anything that you guys kind of?
Best moment, Rudy Gobert crying like the little French sissy he is. Can't handle losing. The Utah Jazz do it pretty regularly, so you think he'd learn to control his emotions by now. Loved it, every second of it.
You weren't with us at the bar where Gannon and I watched the gold medal match, but you would have liked to have been, based on the way
I don't know.
Based on the way a certain someone was talking about Rudy Gobert the whole night.
A certain someone, you.
It's true. I did. I called him Fruity Gobert.
The whole
like pretty loud too. Yeah, it's actually funny, because I like Rudy Gobert and I like the Jazz. But there's just something different about the guys when they throw on the national jerseys, not only in their play, like Ricky Rubio, Patty Mills, but also in how much I can cheer for them. It's pretty amazing when Kevin Durant switches his Nets jersey out for a USA jersey, how big of a Kevin Durant fan I can become.
Really, still cheer against him.
Really, really amazing. I mean,
you got to keep that same energy.
I take a break every fourth summer.
Yo, I
cheered for Dame to carry. I cheered for Dame to carry him all the way.
Do we think Greg Popovich's system is really what hinders Team USA basketball?
No.
I think it's a lack of players like LeBron, and then also a lack of full commitment. And then also the season just ended, so a lot of the players are probably kind of tired, like the top-tier players who have deep playoff runs.
But, okay.
I think fatigue and just not having chemistry. I mean, you got a bunch of dudes who are all the best players on their own respective teams. Now all of a sudden you're throwing them on there and be like, here's one basketball, go win games. And the expectations are, if you don't beat every team by 50, what are you doing? I think that is more.
So to Connor's point of, like, the best players not going, they have no incentive to.
Yeah.
Like, what's the incentive for?
Anymore,
let's just look out and throw out an all-star lineup.
Anymore, it's almost a risk to do the Olympics because you don't get praised for winning the gold. You get criticized if you don't win by 50, like Gannon said. Like, it's almost like a risk at this point because they expect domination at this point. Like, people just expect it.
And I mean,
but I think that depends, though.
LeBron was beat up in his own season, so it would have made no sense for him to play. AD, another player, very good, was beat up. Steph, I guess Steph could have played. I think he was relatively healthy, but
he's been hurt all season. Why risk it?
Giannis, one of the best players, is not American. I think a lot of our best players that in the league, either A, are not American at the moment, or B, they were banged up and they're throughout the regular season. So, and I think if we're specifically talking LeBron, he has nothing else to prove in that aspect. I mean, he's been there, done that. At this point, he's chasing Jordan for rings. And
he has only so many more miles on him. Why risk it?
Yeah,
for a gold medal.
He's chasing Jordan in rings. Like,
I think that's the issue. Back when like the Dream Team played, it wasn't guaranteed to get a gold, so it was like this status thing. Now we won like 17.
I don't know. Next year might be the next Summer Olympics. I don't know.
I think it'd be interesting.
I say that because everybody on that roster that we already had add 4 years to that. You think KD is playing in the Olympics in 4 years? No. Dame, Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, like those guys out.
Well, that's why I think it'd be interesting to do an under 25 NBA Olympic team.
So they won't do that
all the young guys. You get them some extra minutes.
They'll lose.
I know they might not. I mean, if you think about it, we have some like imagine like Zion. I mean, Booker. How old was Booker? Was he 26 this year?
24.
24. So you would have had Booker, Zion. Like you'd have some quality. You'd have what's his name? Ja Morant.
Okay, to that point, you'd have a lot of people in their first NBA contract.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good experience for them. Like I think it'd be interesting at this point.
It'll be interesting to see kind of what we do. I mean, there's, I think for some guys it's an incentive to play for your country and represent your country and go out there and get a gold medal. For other guys, I mean, they kind of would rather not risk their health, which I understand that. I don't shame anybody who chooses to play for it and chooses not to. I think it's just kind of a preference thing. And I think it just works out for us that, we had some of our better players. But outside of basketball, obviously a lot more sports than just that in the Olympics. Swimming, even with the absence of the great Michael Phelps, our men's team did a heck of a job taking over, getting some gold medals. Of course, I already mentioned her, Katie Ledecky on the women's side. I really don't know what else you want there. We were absolutely demolished, as we kind of alluded to, in track and field, at least in the shorter events, as Jamaica on the women's side took gold, silver, and bronze. An absolute domination by Jamaica in that aspect. I do want to give a big shout out to Allison Felix, becoming the most accomplished United States man or woman on the track. So her getting bronze in the 400 individual relay, or not relay, open 400, won her 11th medal to be the most decorated and accomplished U.S. track and field athlete of all time, which I think is absolutely insane. So I definitely want to give a shout out there.
And real briefly before we change subject, because I don't know how much Connor got to watch it or how much any of you guys got to watch of the Olympics, but big shout out swimming-wise, Caleb Dressel, the former Florida Gator, dominated every event that he was in until the relay when the USA messed it up by putting him as the anchor for some reason. But 5 gold medals in the 5 other events that he was in. And then I also want to say one more. This one actually, shout out Norway, because I believe the 400-meter hurdles race that I watched was probably the best individual moment at the Olympics when he just absolutely shattered his own world record. Rai Benjamin for the USA got the silver, would have absolutely shattered the world record himself. But Karsten Warholm from Norway to run a sub 46-second 400-meter hurdles,
unheard of.
It's inhuman performance. And Rai Benjamin was right there. I honestly thought he was going to catch him there at the very end before Warholm hit the final gear. And it's kind of funny too, because entering the year 2021, I think that record was set back in like the 84 Olympics and hadn't been touched. The Norway guy broke it twice in 2 months. The bronze medalist from the event from Brazil would have broke the old world record entering the year. So in that race,
that's just not fair.
Yeah, nobody else in the history of the Olympics would have made the podium in that race. One of the best races of all time. And also shout out to the women's volleyball team who won gold to break the tie with China and give us the gold medal victory in terms of overall gold medals. Very well done and very fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last point I kind of want to end on before we shift gears into a different topic. I think we need to start normalizing that winning a medal in general is a good thing. Like, obviously you want to win gold, but I kind of wanted to talk about this because the national our women's soccer team, obviously we expect them to win gold every time. I mean, they're the best team in the world on paper, usually prove it in the World Cup and various other tournaments. Okay, they got caught lacking. We lost to Canada. In the moment, it sucks. But them bringing home a bronze is not, like, terrible. I think we need to normalize winning a medal in anything. Nothing short.
And to all you idiots who think they lost because they want equal pay, that's not how that works.
No, not at all. They went out there to try their best. Canada, they lost a team that won it all. Canada went out there and they had a better tournament. Give props to
part
Canada.
of that,
they went out there and did it.
I think part of that, though,
medal is nothing to come home and be upset about.
But I think part of that came from the fact that we were close to not winning the gold medal count for like the first time. in a while. So everyone that was like why there was so much focus on gold medals this year, I think. And then also part of it, though, is the women's team is, I agree, winning a bronze medal is phenomenal. Like, think of all the teams out there, you finished third. Like, that's impressive. But I think but also they were such heavy favorites. I think it's kind of hard. Like, it'd be like if the Brooklyn Nets last year, they finished, what, I guess fourth, technically, third or fourth. I mean, they don't do a third place game, but that's kind of what they did. They lost in the conference finals. I mean, that's a heck of a season, but you still kind of feel a little disappointed that you weren't there in the championship.
It's a little different, though. I mean, in soccer, they play year-round, so it's not like an individual sport like the Open 100. But
they do table.
This is stuff that you train for. And I mean, I just use them as an example. I mean, just in general. I mean, this stuff you train for. You get a chance to attempt this every 4 years. You train your whole life to do this once every 4 years. And if you can bring home a medal, I don't think that's anything to be disappointed about.
No, yeah, that's phenomenal. Like that you're even out there representing your country because you don't even get paid that much for most of these sports, and then you're taking all this time and effort to compete. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's a sports fans thing, because, I mean, I just know for myself personally, talk mess, say they shouldn't have, they should be disappointed in themselves, but like when Grant Holloway didn't win the 110-meter hurdles, I was like, damn, that's one that we probably should have had. Or when Noah Lyles finished bronze. Like, it's an amazing accomplishment. In the moment, you're like, we could have had that one. But then you look back at it, having won the gold medal count and everything now, and you got to feel good for the athletes. This was a weird Olympics anyway. This was pretty unpredictable. We were very young, both in track and field, swimming, really all the events. So for us to have done this well, I mean, I'm very proud of all the athletes.
We didn't even have Simone Biles as guaranteed golds. Like, it was just a weird Olympics.
Yeah, I think, and that honestly too, I think that kind of hurt this Olympics as far as viewership. We were missing star power big time. I mean, we had no Usain Bolt, no Serena Williams, no Michael Phelps. Naomi Osaka got knocked out real early. Simone Biles didn't compete in all the tournaments. No LeBron James, no Steph Curry. I mean,
all the top names.
We were missing some big names. No Giannis even.
That's the transition in sports right now. Though we're at that weird. I'm sure our parents
guard right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm sure everybody before us has had it, but we're having that. All right, let's find our next superstars and all around the world and see what they do.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee there will even be another Phelps, Bolt, or like Serena Williams again. Like, those three are just at what they do. There might never be another like as dominant. Like, there might be a best in the world, but not like the way they dominate.
I mean, there might not be. I mean,
I'm not saying they're going to be that good, but I'm talking about like a household name.
The records that they broke, people thought would stand forever, and those guys went out there and did it. So, who's to say there can't be another Usain Bolt?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I just meant like
may not be in our lifetime, but
yeah. We've been spoiled was more of what I.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more thing. I'm glad you guys mentioned Usain Bolt, because I actually have to shout out all the past Olympians, Justin Gatlin's, Tyson Gay's, Asafa Powell's. Because this year a 9.8 won the 100-meter dash. Bro, I looked at the top times for all of those dudes.
Not fair.
They all just happened to run at the same time as Usain Bolt.
Yep.
But it was all those guys were like the top 20 times. I'm not kidding. Like, huge shout out to them, because looking at it now, we did not appreciate that speed enough.
I don't think 9.8 would have won NCAA championship this year.
Oh my god.
It wasn't it Bromell who had the fastest time in 2021 going into the Olympics?
Yeah, and he was like 9.73 or something like that.
That is insane.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not to take away from the Texas native or the Texas-born Italian, Lamont Marcel Jacobs, who won it, but damn. I thought about that while watching it. I was like, Justin Gatlin must feel sick right now. Like, he would have been a gold medalist for sure if he was 4 years later or 4 years earlier.
You know what's crazy is Asafa Powell has the record for most sub-10 100-meter dashes. and he only has 1 gold medal.
Down bad, bro.
That
Down bad.
is pitiful. That is pitiful. But we're going to transition now over into the NBA. Lots of off-season stuff to attend to. Of course, first we will start with the NBA draft that took place just a week ago. Already full swing into action with Summer League ball being played. Of course, the number 1 overall pick being point guard Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State going to the Detroit Pistons. There were a lot of big names that got selected off the board early. Just straight up, I don't know how much you guys followed the draft. We were all kind of texting about it, so, I mean, I know we were all kind of following it. What were some surprising points? Anything that didn't make sense to you guys? Stuff that you thought was maybe a steal in the draft? What do you guys think overall from this year's draft? That was kind of downplayed. I don't think he was as hyped as previous seasons have been.
I think James Bouknight is going to be amazing in Charlotte. I think that is a steal because I like KU, so I obviously think Devontae Graham's a little better than he is.
Hey.
But I think having a guard with hit he doesn't have he has the athleticism that Graham doesn't. Like James Bouknight can go. And I think having him next to LaMelo, and I mean they already got a pretty solid backcourt with PJ Washington and those groups. He's throwing lobs all over the place. The Hornets freaking announcer dang near had a stroke every game. But I think having a guard that they can get, because LaMelo's good, but I don't think he's that go get me a bucket kind of player. I think he's more the setup for the guy to get that bucket. So I think Bouknight is going to end up being that person. Because I don't think it's Terry Rozier. But Terry Rozier is good, but I don't think he's that over the top player. They still got Gordon Hayward too, so they got a pretty solid lineup. But I think Bouknight, especially if they let him play with 6 man, just going to have a hell of a season.
My takeaway was R.I.P. Cade Cunningham's career, gone before it even started. Yep.
I'm sorry. I'll let. I don't know if you have more to expand on that, Connor. But my takeaway from this year's draft is R.I.P. to every single player that I really like in this draft. Not because of their talent, because of where they're going. First and foremost, R.I.P. Cade Cunningham, an absolute dog. His career is over before he got started. That is so unfortunate that he's going to Detroit. I'm going to piss off a lot of NBA fans right now because I'm sorry. Shout out my main man, Jalen Suggs. R.I.P. his career. The Magic are going absolutely nowhere, so that's just a waste for him. Shout out Davion Mitchell. The Kings, are you serious? The Kings are closer to coming back to Kansas City than they are of having a winning season. Absolutely not. That is just horrible. Major sadness for my dog, Evan Mobley, going to Cleveland Cavaliers, going nowhere fast. Unreal. Feels so bad for you there as well. Just some Toby's man, Wagner, not going anywhere, being on the Magic. Orlando has nothing going for them whatsoever. There's just such sadness. And I'm not the biggest Jalen Green fan, but he also is not going anywhere fast with the Houston Rockets currently as constructed. So just so many great players going to such unfortunate teams. And that, I mean, obviously, that's how the draft works. The worst teams draft the better players. But it's something specifically about these franchises that have done nothing with their lives for the past decade. And they got all of the most exciting players, in my opinion, from college basketball.
I think the best off guy is going to be Giddey, just because he's on the Thunder and you have every pick in every draft for the next million years. So
Moses
Moody. Yep, Moses Moody on the Warriors. That's insane.
Hey, we almost got Moses Moody, and then we decided to make a terrible pick and draft a senior in college. So
which one you take?
Chris Duarte.
We take Duarte.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? Our team's not good. We're not competing now. Why take a senior in college? Why not take a Rit? I'm not going to get into it.
Wait, didn't y'all made a trade? Who'd y'all make a trade for?
We traded 4 second-round picks for the rights to draft Who was it?
His last name's Todd. I remember that.
Well, didn't you get Isaiah Jackson too from the Lakers?
Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah, we traded 4 second-round picks to draft Isaiah Jackson.
Yeah.
Which was dumb. No offense to Isaiah Jackson. I'm sure he's going to be great. But 4 second-round picks to get a guy we could have traded like 1 second-round pick to get probably.
Toby, you've been quiet. What do you got mustered up for us?
I've got really 2 draft winners and then 1 draft sleeper. My winners, the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody in the first round, joining a team that's only there because they don't have Klay Thompson, a team that knows how to win and has the guys to do so right away. And the Warriors get even better. So that's pretty ridiculous. I like the Rockets. I like the Rockets draft. I don't know how many times somebody's gotten 4 first-round picks, but in a NBA draft where so much is unpredictable, the odds of all 4 of those guys not panning out is ridiculously low. You know, there's a good chance that at least one of them will become a good role player. 2 of them may become really good, and I think they got really good players in Jalen Green. They got Josh Christopher from down in Creed's neighborhood, Arizona State. Usman Garuba played for the Spanish national team in the Olympics. Already got some experience guarding some of the best in the world. Alperen Sengun, I don't know much about him. I saw him get dunked on in the summer league, but still a bright future there. So to have 4 first-round picks, pretty impressive by the Rockets. That's going to be the Thunder for the next 8 drafts. So we'll gear up for that. That'll become much more normal. And then I've got the steal, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl to the Thunder. I thought was an amazing pick. Villanova guys in the second round work out. Jalen Brunson found a role right away with the Mavs. Sadiq Bey with the Pistons. May have been their best player last year. Not great, but he found a role. He's playing well. So Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, KC guy, Villanova guy, he's going to come in, be ready right away for a team that has nothing but open spots to help get him time to play right away. And Ayo Dosunmu to the Bulls. The Illinois guy staying home. I like the pickup. I like the pickup for the Bulls.
I gotta say, my draft winner is also the Warriors. I mean, I just think the Warriors. I mean, they're gonna be good when they have Klay and Steph both healthy, and now they just picked up basically 2 top 10 guys. I mean, Moody went 14th, but like that's basically 2 top 10 guys, 2 top 15 guys, and they'll get Steph and Klay back healthy. They'll still have Draymond. That's the team that, with a few missing pieces, went 73-9. Like, I don't know. They could be good, and they still have I don't know. I think they'll be good. They might. I mean, the West is insane. The Lakers are still the easy favorites out there, but I don't know. Warriors are setting themselves up to stay relevant for a while.
Any losers of the draft?
Pacers.
Jeez.
He said that. It's like you don't even like your own team, bro.
I don't right now. I don't. Like,
he doesn't.
We just had a coach get fired after his first season. You know how rare that is? Like,
I'm not going to call them losers per se, but the pick that I really did not understand, first round, I guess, was Joshua Primo to the Spurs. You know, like, he was the youngest player in the draft. There's upside there.
You're Big Moody.
But Primo was an interesting pick, in my opinion. And then the Spurs, they got Wieskamp from Iowa in the second round.
Gross.
Which is cool, but Wieskamp is essentially, I mean, a less athletic Joe Harris.
Bro, I mean, I thought you had to say Primo.
Primo, I think so. Primo is going to have to, like, really develop because he was pretty raw at Alabama last year, and he didn't get to play a ton because Alabama was pretty – I mean, they kind of loaded up. They had a good starting 5 of a few older guys, so he didn't get as much playing time last year as a lot of these other guys did. So he's extremely raw coming in. And I'm surprised with Creed's Duarte pick and the Spurs' Josh Primo that Moses Moody was able to just fall into the Warriors' laps. But
dude, I remember watching that live, and I was so sure the Spurs were going to steal Moody right before we could take him. and then they didn't take him. I got all excited and hyped, and then they announced our pick.
And then y'all couldn't even take him. A pick that kind of surprised me. I think Jalen Suggs is good and all, but this is like the fourth guard that the Magic have drafted in like back to back years. So it's kind of like
R.I.P. his career.
At what point do you kind of let your guards that you have either traded for? Because then they traded for R.J. Hampton in the middle of last season. Yeah, and they got Cole Anthony.
Oh, speaking of guards you can't shoot, what happened to that one guy? Where's what's his name? Who gets traded around because they want to fix his shot but can't?
Ben Simmons.
No, the guard.
Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, Markelle Fultz.
Oh, thank you.
He's in Orlando.
Yeah, he's in the Magic
I
too, isn't
really
he?
just said they traded for him a couple years ago.
Yeah, they got Fultz against it. Yeah.
And another guard. It's like
R.I.P. his career, bro.
They drafted Mo Bamba. They said we're never drafting a big man again.
Yeah, they might have been the losers just because the players that are going there are the losers, and them as a franchise is losers.
Yeah, Franz Wagner is a huge loser. Stupid school he went to.
Well, I'm not going to get into that. But a team that was, in my opinion, a big-time winner in overall free agency, that is my Los Angeles Lakers.
AKA retirement home.
Yeah, keep that.
I don't get that, though. I know that's like the joke.
Let me announce real quick. So, as most people know by now, they have acquired Russell Westbrook after a major draft night trade that included their first-round pick, sending Kyle Kuzma, KCP with his non-shooting behind, and Montrezl Harrell over to the Washington Wizards for Russell Westbrook. In addition to that trade, they have also added Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk, Trevor Ariza, and shooting guard Kent Bazemore. Lots of names, lots of former Lakers now back. Somehow Toby got muted. There we go. A lot of former Lakers now coming back to Staples Center. The Lakers have now built their big three, per se, big four, if you want to count Melo. I don't, but some people have.
Hey, Melo played really well for the Blazers.
I definitely really happy there for my Lakers getting Russell Westbrook. There is some chemistry fit there, and we'll get into that in just a second. But just to highlight everything else that went on, the Heat made a nice little splash, bringing in Kyle Lowry. They were able to extend Duncan Robinson, re-signed Jimmy Butler to a nice big deal. The Bulls were able to get Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan, former Spur, and of course they did add former Laker great Alex Caruso. R.I.P. to his Lakers career. He will be dearly missed. The Nets re-signed Kevin Durant for an unholy amount of money, as he is tied to Brooklyn for a very, very long time. It's funny because I came out the same day that Stephen A. Smith said, what if Kevin Durant signed with the Knicks, and then he signed a 4-year extension not even 2 hours later. So I thought that was pretty funny. Ben Simmons is still looking to be traded. I think in his hopes he wants to go to the Warriors. I don't think the Warriors believe that he is worth what the 76ers are asking for. There's new talks now that a Ben Simmons to the Trailblazers could be on the horizon, depending on what Damian Lillard wants to do there. But that really accounts for the biggest names. Of course, the Clippers re-signing their big names, getting Kawhi Leonard, also Reggie Jackson back as well. They will be returning to the City of Angels. Obviously, the biggest names, the biggest sports has been in the NBA has been about the Lakers. Were there any other moves that surprised you guys? Did you want to talk about the Lakers and Russ's fit in LA? What did you guys kind of take from the free agency so far?
I just don't get the whole – I mean, I know we're making fun of Lakers because they're old. Like, I know that's the joke going on right now. But I don't know how you look at the roster and think it's, like, not easily the favorite. Like, I know Russell Westbrook has a hard time in his current form fitting on a lot of teams because he can't shoot. And the Lakers guarded him in the playoffs by sitting in the paint, which was funny. But, like, you surround him with, like, Wayne Ellington, who shoots, like, 40% from three for his career almost, which I just looked at, which is insane. LeBron's not a bad shooter. Anthony Davis can shoot. Ariza can shoot. Melo can shoot. Like, even Malik Monk and Bazemore aren't bad shooting. Kendrick Nunn. Like, I don't know how you don't look at this roster and think they're going to be pretty good. Like they're old, yeah, but
well, that's the issue. The roster will be good, and everybody just needs to find a reason to hate.
But like,
and the Brooklyn Nets are older average-wise than the Lakers.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They're not that old, and if you think about it, if you're like 32 and you're a star, you're kind of in like the back edge of your prime, but you're still a part of your prime. Like I don't know. They're
NBA Twitter acts like you in our Madden league. Anybody over 30 gotta
if you're 30, you gotta go.
Yeah. Like Dwight Howard's younger than LeBron. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
And like Kendrick Nunn's 26. Schroeder's in his 20s.
The only thing about this Laker team that I just can't wrap my head around, LeBron James is the longest tenured Laker.
Yeah, that was the thing. That's the thing that annoys me is how
ridiculous.
Like
there is not a single player that is still there when LeBron got there.
That's so annoying to me. It's like you don't even have to draft well if you're the Lakers.
Think about this. We traded half our roster to get Anthony Davis.
Well,
but let's be honest here. That trade would not go through if Anthony Davis hadn't been dead set on not playing or going to the Lakers. Like that was not a even trade.
Okay, but looking back at that roster, is there any one player you would keep on that roster to not have what we have right now?
Oh,
Brandon Ingram would have been the only one. I would have sent Kuzma instead of Brandon Ingram. But if Brandon Ingram's going to get us Russell Westbrook, bye.
You wouldn't keep D'Lo?
Not a chance.
We had already traded D'Lo, but no, please, I would have kept D'Lo over Kuz any day.
Who'd you trade D'Lo for? I don't remember.
I don't even remember. I don't know who we brought from the Nets. They weren't good though.
I packed his bags for him. I would have packed Kuzma's bags too.
Oh, Kuzma.
Oh, you guys got Brooke Lopez.
Should have stayed, but tell me what you got on overall free agency, and or the Lakers or Nets.
For me, a winner in free agency is the Miami Heat. I like what the Heat did to re-sign Jimmy Butler, to extend Duncan Robinson, because they're going to need that scoring. They're going to be so good defensively with Kyle Lowry going there. I mean, this is going to be a very, very difficult team to score on. I still don't take them over the Nets because I don't know where their scoring is going to come from. But low-key underrated pickup, PJ Tucker going to the Heat. Again, a defensive signing. But there's no reason this shouldn't be the best team defensively in the NBA. And you've got Adebayo, who's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Jimmy Butler, Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Kyle Lowry, best known for taking charges in all-star games. PJ Tucker, who can guard 1 through 5 on the court. So defensively, they're going to be so good. I like what the Bulls did. I like the Bulls adding Lonzo Ball. I liked them adding DeMar DeRozan.
Alex Caruso.
Maybe some streaky shooting there, but they need somebody to help take some of the pressure off Zach LaVine. And Vucevic was a good get at the trade deadline last year. But if Vucevic is your number 2 option, your number 2 go-to option, it's going to be kind of hard. You don't really play out of the post anymore like that. So I liked what they did. I think the East made a lot of good moves outside of me and Connor's teams. I think the East was doing a lot. So maybe I'm not as excited for next year as our Lakers fan friends.
My fellow.
You know what's interesting to me? In the NBA, every big city team now that Chicago and New York have started to make moves, it is good now. You got Miami.
I don't know if I call the Bulls roster good.
Yeah, they're not that good.
I don't know, dude. We'll see. I think they'll make the playoffs in the East.
I'm willing to bet right now.
No, I don't know about that one. Maybe with the play-in. Maybe with the play-in. Maybe there's a chance at the play-in, but I don't know about that. They can get the 10 seed maybe. They're not getting the 8 straight up.
Well, all they have to do to make the top 8 is be better than 4 games under 500.
Yeah, I don't know if they can do that.
I mean, they were 3 games out of the 8 seed before all these moves. They were only 3 games out.
Which means they didn't make it.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
These moves definitely improved.
I did want to highlight one individual in free agency, which I personally do not really understand this. But I mean, maybe this is just me, but shout out Chris Paul. I mean, got the absolute bag. I still can't believe that salary that he just got. $38.51 million.
I got a potential loser. Kristaps Porzingis. Apparently, the Mavs are extremely interested in Lord Marketing from the Bulls. And you're not gonna have 2 7-footers who think they Dirk Nowitzki out there. So one of them gonna have to go. And it's gonna be KP.
Luka just got his bag. 200.
I'm saying if you want to sign, like Connor said, that vet minimum, come to LA.
Over. We can.
I'll pack your bags for you. I can get to Dallas.
One more big man and or a possible sign and trade for Buddy Hield away to where it's non-negotiable. It's not.
Our road trip, KP. Listen, if you listen, our road trip, I'll pack your bags for you.
Zingas, come on, we get Buddy Hield. It's non-negotiable at that point.
No, how much help does AD need to stay relevant? This is ridiculous. All this help just to beat Norman Powell in Portland.
Oh my!
Norman Powell.
He got the bag too this offseason.
It's about to be just Norman Powell. Dame trying to get him out of there.
It will. I think Norman Powell will take over. He'll be running the show up there.
Take over
soon.
what? He'll take over the 13th seed in the West.
If that's what it takes. If Dame leaves, yeah, I guess.
That's what it's going to be. Nothing else.
Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard they're the same person from each conference. They're never leaving no matter how bad that team gets.
No, bro. My boy.
There'll be reports that they're unhappy, but they'll never leave.
I have to believe Bradley Beal will get out of there eventually.
I don't think didn't he? What did he just sign or did he just sign an extension?
2 summers ago.
Oh, he must not have been the new one I was thinking of. I thought he just re-signed.
He re-signed 2 summers ago, and then went into last season. That's when I was like, all right, he needs to get out of there. But he had just signed from the previous summer. And now this is the second summer. I mean, he'll eventually leave. He's not.
I think he's going to retire there at this point.
No, he's not a wizard lifer. But my fear is it'll be too late when he does actually move.
Oh, but
then Connor, you'll be the one getting on his head for taking.
No, I've already said him and Dame are free to go at this point. Their teams have decided that they don't even want to keep them.
So basically,
they have your permission to go to a winning team.
No, it's like with Aaron Rodgers. It's like with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers leaving would have been fine because if you try to be loyal and your team just screws you over, like they leave you out of management decisions.
Like LeBron, he tried to be loyal.
Who did LeBron try to be loyal to?
The Cavaliers.
He left them for Miami on a televised broadcast. That was not.
Hey, not gonna lie,
we're not going to this. The 7 years that he
and I didn't have much of a problem with LeBron leaving the Cavs.
Just come up with one.
Well, no, I was saying like that was a big thing. People were upset with him. I mean, I wasn't even an NBA fan back when he left for Miami. I was too young, but
that was 2010.
I wasn't. I watched college. I didn't watch NBA back in 2010, but I didn't start being a Pacers fan until like 2012, I think.
We need to go ahead and just end this segment because you're going down a dark path.
But
this is something that you're going to deny in 2 months, and I'm not going to let you do it because we have this on tape. So I don't want to hear
2012, I would have been, I was like 16 years old. I think 16 years old was around when I started watching the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
It was right around we were at Rockhurst.
This man, all this talk he does about the Pacers previously to 2012, we're going down a dark path here. So
what year did we enter?
No more Wedgie Miller.
No, we're just gonna cut.
What year did we start high school? Because it was right around when Toby and I had Mrs. Smith's class or whatever our freshman year.
We were freshmen in 2011, but I'm
2011.
all about
when I started being a.
Norman, I'm all about getting on your head, Connor. I'm gonna just save you.
What is bad about that? No, what's bad about that? I don't understand what's bad about that.
Nothing. We gonna save it for off air or for another time.
We're gonna cut this part out anyway at this point. So what's bad about being a Pacers fan at 15?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all, my friend.
What you're making it like
this
deal?
As we transition over to the MLB, there's a lot wrong with being a St. Louis Cardinals fan, because you guys are trash.
We're fine. I mean,
you just fired your head coach after 1 year. That's not fine.
No, that was the Pacers. He's talking about the Cardinals.
No, the Cardinals.
Cardinals are fine. Too. I mean, we're in a weird spot. our two best bullpen arms going into the season, Jordan Hicks and Dakota Hudson, have been out all season, and we've really struggled with pitching. Flaherty's been out. He was our best starter. He was the first pitcher to 10 wins. He's been out for 60 days by now. Michaelis, probably our second best pitcher going into the season, has been out for 2-3 months. We've had bad pitching, and we've had 4 of our best pitchers, 2 bullpen, 2 starters out for pretty much the whole season. We're hanging around. Once we get Flaherty back and Michaelis back here soon, hopefully our bullpen can hold. I mean, we're not getting Hudson and Hicks back this year. So
as it is right now, the St. Louis Cardinals are 8 games out of the playoffs. Will they make the playoffs this year?
I don't see how. I mean, I don't see how they can, to be honest. Without Hudson and Hicks coming back, they're out for the season. I don't see how the bullpen. I mean, there was just 2 days. The last game we played against the Braves, so right before this 3-game series against the Royals, we walked, I believe it was 5 batters in a row to lose the game in the 9th inning. We basically just walked. The guy couldn't find the strike zone. He threw like 11 of 14 pitches were balls, something like that, and they lost. We also have the record right now. We're approaching the MLB record for most walks with the bases loaded this season. In a season, we're approaching the MLB record for that. We're also approaching the MLB record for hit by pitches. We don't have a bullpen, and our 2 best bullpen guys aren't coming back this season. They've been out the whole season. They're not coming back. Hicks and Hudson, they're not coming back.
You're dirty.
So without them, I don't see how we can. We'd have to catch the Padres. And like you said, we're 8. And we're not going to catch the Padres. We have a big stretch coming up where we play the Pirates 13 of like the next 16 games, and they're awful. If we can basically sweep them every time, beat the Royals, Kansas City, and beat the Tigers, maybe if the Padres stumble. But the Padres just made big moves, so I don't see how. I would say no.
Well, that's a lot of coverage for a team that's in 3rd in their own division. So we're going to talk about the teams that currently lead their division.
The Brewers?
Well, I mean, they're doing something. We'll start with the AL first, though. The Tampa Bay Rays. Last time we talked, I believe it was the Boston Red Sox that were leading that. So the Rays have now stormed back to take capture of first place in the AL East, with the Red Sox 4 games behind them. My Yankees finally act like they know how to play some baseball, winning 8 of their last 10. So they're 6.5 back out of first place there, but they're only, I believe, 2.5 out of the playoffs as currently constructed. So right now, my Yankees are chasing the Oakland A's to get into the postseason. So a lot of baseball left in that regard. In the AL Central, we have the Chicago White Sox with a commanding lead there. They're just head and shoulders above pretty much everyone. As far as the AL is concerned, I mean, it's pretty much them and the Rays. I mean, the Astros are up there as well, as they are currently leading the AL West. But I think the White Sox are better than the Astros right now. They're freaking good, man. Those dudes they know how to ball. In the NL, the Philadelphia Phillies, they have a 2-game lead over Atlanta, as they are in first place there. As Connor alluded to earlier, in the NL Central, the Brewers have a nice, decent lead over the Cincinnati Reds in the NL Central, and then rounding out the West, which is just by far the just hardest division in baseball right now. The San Francisco Giants continue with the best record in all of baseball, 71-41 as of today, as they lead the NL West, followed by the Dodgers, followed by Montae San Diego, without their main man, Fernando Tatis, who's injured. RIP to my fantasy team, as that's just not what I need right now. I need him to get healthy, as your boy has come all the way back from purgatory, take first in his division over Connor. Connor, real quick, little side note here. What is going on with your fantasy baseball team?
You're on a 5-game losing streak.
5-game losing streak.
Look at my roster. Half the spots are blank because once I had my 8th star player on the 60-day IL, I stopped caring about my lineup. Like,
what? Man, I started the season out like 1-5, and now
I don't have enough players.
But
I don't have enough players to field a team.
Drop people.
I'm not dropping dudes who are on the IL 60 because we're guaranteed a playoff spot. I'm just waiting till the postseason now. Mike Trout, Ronald Acuna Jr., Jack Flaherty,
Like all these dudes are just out for 60 days.
I'll let you know right now. If you drop Mike Trout, he gonna be sitting nice and pretty.
Oh,
on my
he's gonna be chilling.
And you only get
how long you on the IL?
59 days left.
Yeah. At day 61, that boy out there.
And you only get 3 IL spots. Like Grandal's on the IL, Freddie Freeman, Yasmani Grandal, Randy Rosarina, Mike Trout, Ronald Acuna Jr., Clayton Kershaw's on the 60-day IL, Jack Flaherty.
Dude, Acuna's done for the season.
Yeah, I know.
Why are you hanging on to him?
I haven't touched my roster since like my 6th star player.
Bro, you got players that are out for the whole year.
My 5.
They're only on IL 6. You
Picks.
just can't go higher than that. I think.
I'm pretty sure like my 5 first picks in the draft are all either out for the season or on the 60-day. Like I'm
drop the people who are out for the season.
Well, Acuna.
He literally cannot come back.
Acuna was like my favorite non-Cardinal. So when he tore his ACL, my desire for the season really plummeted.
Bro,
is that how it's going to be in fantasy football too?
Dude, you look at my roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dudes are hurt right now.
That's pathetic. But before we get off track here, there were quite a few big time signings that went down not too long ago. I'll let Toby kind of highlight.
I have a pitcher that's banned. Sorry, I just saw that. I was wondering what the B meant. One of my starting pitchers is banned. Sorry, yeah. I'm done. Banned.
Well, speaking of banned pitchers and their teams, the Los Angeles Dodgers, Montae's fantasy pitcher Trevor Bauer, who of course is banned for a good reason.
Yeah.
The Dodgers, they made moves again. Max Scherzer, a Dodger now. Trey Turner, potential NL MVP, a Dodger now. The Dodgers, they went out. They tried to sign everyone and their grandma. Can't beat them if the whole league's on their team. So with their unlimited roster spots and unlimited money, they went out, made a huge splash, and somehow, some way, the Giants have only increased their lead on the Dodgers. It's pretty wild. This is a new decade, but it's shaping up to be just like the 2010s, where every odd year, the San Francisco Giants are, or what was it? It was every even year in the 2010s.
Yeah, it was every even.
It'll be every odd year in the 2020s. So enjoy the Giants right now, who signed, of course, Chris Bryant from the Cubs. As the Cubs got rid of everybody who won the World Series, they all scattered them too. Didn't want any of them to remain in contact with each other. Javi Baez to the Mets. Anthony Rizzo crossed town to the Yankees. Craig Kimbrell to the White Sox, keeping him in the same city. Didn't make him move too far from home. Jock Peterson, who they had for half a season, going to the Braves. Blew it up. The trade deadline was absolutely wild. Pretty much what you thought would happen happened. The Yankees, they signed big home run hitters, Joey Gallo and Rizzo. Dodgers got better. The Padres even went out, and they haven't stopped spending money since Tatis got there. And got themselves an all-star second baseman, Adam Frazier, despite having Jake Cronenworth, who was also an all-star second baseman. So it's best to have doubles for the Padres.
Also, as long as the Rizzo, Bryant, and Baez all homered in their first game off the Cubs.
They did.
Yep, they did. It was pretty impressive how much they hated Chicago at the time they left. No, I'm just kidding. They loved it. But they were happy to be somewhere else, somewhere that's going to the postseason, you'd think. But the Mets, hey, ever since they got Baez, they've blown it. The Phillies blowing past them in the division. First to third in about a week's time. Yankees still in third. So, look, there's no guarantee for any of these guys to go to the playoffs. Made them move across the country just to go where they were going anyway.
No,
we're back home in October.
No, we're getting there. We got to put some things together. The Yankees get the Royals coming up, so that kind of helps them. Unfortunately, I love me some Royals, but yeah, I mean, as we speak, it looks like the Yankees are about to beat the Royals. So it's bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, so the Yankees are about to get a dub there. So they're right there. But
the Royals just tied the game.
Oh, did they?
Let's go.
Yep. As you were saying that, the Royals just got a hit to tie the game.
Sorry, Yankees, I jinxed you. If y'all lose to the Royals, you really didn't deserve this win anyway. So there's that for you. But I wanted to save the best for last. Of course, our next topic, get into the NFL. Have you fellas had a chance to get your top 10 safety list created by now?
If you start with somebody else, I will.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that first. There's some news we got to attend to before we get to that, but I just wanted to ask, see if you guys needed some more time on that. For starters, for this week in the NFL, we could talk about nothing other than the induction of the Hall of Famers. Such a great class. Legends as of Peyton Manning, Calvin Johnson, Charles Woodson, Elgin James, Bill Cowher as a head coach. We had Troy Polamalu. So many. Ed Reed got involved in there. This, of course, is involved in the 2020 and 2021 Hall of Fame classes. Just some absolute legends of the game, which you would expect with the Hall of Fame. So, and those were all announced at the Hall of Fame game that was set last week. We did get some football. It was an awful game if you watched it between the Steelers and the Cowboys. That was pathetic, as typically most first postseason games are, or preseason games are. But yeah, that was a bit of a doozy. But we did get some football involved and some big names there. Man, I can't believe Peyton Manning's already been out of the league for 5 years. Like that's just insane to me.
Well, the fact that Megatron's already been out for that long.
Well, it feels like he hasn't played in forever. But Peyton Manning, this man won a Super Bowl like not too long ago. I can't believe it. Only Troy Polamalu is just now getting in.
Megatron had a 0-16 season not too long ago.
That wasn't even in.
I bet you.
I know. I joke because he's one of my favorite players ever, but
I bet you.
I hate the Lions for that.
I bet you it feels like more than 5 years for Montae, having gone from Manning's Broncos to the Broncos that we know and love today. It's probably felt like way more than 5 years.
Y'all don't love us.
I love how bad you are.
I will right now.
I will once Aaron Rodgers goes there.
I've loved the past 4 years.
I love how bad they are.
I hope y'all die.
Toby, I can't hear you. Cannot hear you. Can't hear you.
Can't hear it still.
We can hear you.
Moving y'all phones. Connor was doing it earlier.
Can you hear this?
Yes.
Sadly.
Well, obviously, this was the greatest induction ever, combining two classes. And I know for myself personally, the Hall of Fame has a different feel now that players that I watched growing up are making it to the Hall of Fame.
Ed Reed.
There's just more excitement around it. These are all the guys that we grew up with, so it's really cool to see them now enshrined, but it also makes me feel pretty old. Peyton Manning being 5 years out of the NFL makes me feel very old.
We played our entire lives. He started his NFL.
Well, Connor didn't start becoming a Colts fan until like 2019, so he has no recollection of who Peyton Manning.
Well, except no, I was a Colts fan when my cousin played there, and he played with Peyton Manning when he won a Super Bowl. I was at that Super Bowl.
That's the old excuse.
So I was a big Peyton Manning fan for that reason, but I was more of a Vinatieri, Marvin Harrison fan. I got to meet those two guys. Vinatieri, one of the nicest dudes ever. Huge Vinatieri fan.
Well, speaking of the Colts, they are getting absolutely savage with injuries. Carson Wentz, I still am not 100% sure this injury was not planned to screw the Eagles out of a first-round draft pick. Carson Wentz over here with a broken foot that's out for 5 to 12 weeks, the longest span I've ever heard in my life. How are you out possibly a month, or you're out like half the season? That's the most ridiculous thing ever there. And then Quentin Nelson suffers the exact same injury. That cannot be planned because he's their best player. So that really sucks for them. There's multiple talks about a possible trade involving Nick Foles, which I think would just be absolutely detrimental to that team moving forward. Bringing in Nick Foles to undercut Carson Wentz yet again in his career. Now I'm not happy about guys getting injured, especially not Carson Wentz, because that's still my guy. Unfortunately, he just plays for the enemy.
I was kind of happy.
But I could not be any happier about currently how the Colts are currently constructed. No quarterback, no best offensive lineman. I love it.
You really can't make it up that Carson Wentz got hurt, bro. It's just so good. Like, it's just like everyone was like, will he get hurt? Will he get hurt? They have a trade focused around if he'll get hurt. Before the preseason even starts, he gets hurt. It's just too good.
Yeah, it's unreal. Another quarterback, though, who is probably thinking about life in the complete opposite direction of Carson Wentz, is Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, who got the absolute bag. Get a 6-year deal from Buffalo, has the most guaranteed money in all of football, even above one Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. His salary comes out to averaging out to about $43 million per year, only behind, of course, Patrick Mahomes with the $500 million deal that he signed just a couple summers ago. After the most bizarre, this man here, I don't know what to make. There are two people who I'm most confused on with their relationship with their clubs. One is in Lionel Messi, which we'll get to him in a little bit. And the next is Xavier Howard. I don't know what this man's true feelings are about the team he plays for. This man publicly came out against them quite some time ago, then apparently was in the contract negotiations, then all of a sudden just said, screw any of those negotiations. I want out, requested a trade. And then there was like no news about where he could go, where he might end up going, just a list of some teams that were interested. And then all of a sudden it was like, nah, screw that. He's a permanent member of the Miami Dolphins. So I don't know what's going on there. This man is more bipolar than the chair of Barcelona, FC Barcelona. So I don't know what is going on there, but it sounds more. I think it's a done deal. He is officially a member of the Miami Dolphins moving forward. So he would have to request another trade in order to get out of underneath this current deal that he just signed. So Xavier Howard is staying put. Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints is currently not in a good light with his current team, as he feels like he is being cast in a bad light after ignoring some of his coaches, and most significantly, he got into a nice little riffraff with his head coach over the timing of his most recent surgery. So not good if you're Jameis Winston and or Taysom Hill when your star receivers get into a fight with the team. Montae.
Okay, but in Michael Thomas's defense, he's currently going into camp when the quarterback battle is between Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
no disrespect to either of those guys, but that's a major fall off from Drew Brees.
That's big facts. But when they need you the most, though, that's when they need you to step up. You can't be not with the team and subtweeting. They need you the most.
Bro, Michael Thomas is the epitome of a subtweet.
What?
It makes sense. It does.
No, it doesn't. That literally makes no sense.
It does. I thought about it.
It makes sense.
How does that make sense?
It makes sense if you don't think about it.
Michael Thomas
like
has
female
taken the crown. Antonio Brown gave his crown to Michael Thomas for biggest diva in the NFL.
I know. I'm so glad you talked over what I just said, because now we're going.
Antonio Brown just decided he was going to get it set right with the Buccaneers. He's gone quiet, and now it's Michael Thomas taking over the league's biggest diva.
Yeah, I think you've definitely got to consider this guy.
I can't stand this man. I can't stand this man. Where did he pull that up so fast from?
So I've just had this ready. This is actually from the postseason. I think actually 2 postseasons ago when he cried about the Vikings, the 49ers. So it was a deep dig to find this picture. But it's the picture that keeps on giving its evergreen. But I mean, look, he might not be excited about the Saints this year. I think most people aren't as excited about the Saints this year as they have been in years past. but he probably should have gone ahead and gotten that surgery sooner if he was actually wanting to play, because he knew he was hurt last postseason. That was his excuse for having 0 catches in the divisional round game against Carlton Davis and the Bucks. That was the excuse. So he knew he was hurt. If he knew that, he should have got the surgery sooner. I'm team Sean Payton 100% in this case. I'm completely fine with him being not so happy with Michael Thomas. But also, Sean Payton needs to realize that he probably needs this guy.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you're team Sean Payton, but this team about to not have – Sean Payton not about to have a team. He's lost Drew Brees. He's about to lose Michael Thomas for an undisclosed amount of time. Jameis Winston, if you're relying on him to save your job, good luck there. And Taysom Hill, we don't know if he can throw the ball past 30 yards. So, accurately, consistently. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe team Sean Payton for now.
Is Sean Payton on the hot seat?
What? No.
Not at the moment. After this season, I think it could be a real conversation.
But most people realize he's got nothing to work with. So you think if they have a losing season for the first time in a long time, he's already on the hot seat?
100% on the hot seat. Because then if they repeat it the following year, then you have to make changes.
I think part of the recent playoff upsets do not help his cause.
Yeah, when he had one of the I'm just ignoring that. When he had one of the best quarterbacks in the game, they weren't winning. I mean, they were winning, but they weren't winning Super Bowls.
Slant, man. I hate you so much.
Yeah, no, bro. Bro, I've never seen a man get made fun of for being so great at something.
Yes, you have.
This man is the greatest slant runner of all time, and he gets slandered for it.
It's a bird.
You're about to get it. You're about to get it in the safety. You're about to get it in the safety discussions.
Yeah, well, who's gonna get it is this person who came out with this list for CBS Sports, because this is by far.
Get it now.
Shut up. I think this is by far the worst list we have ever had on this show, and this includes Connor's Ryan Kerrigan from last season.
Wait, hold up.
Oh,
is it worse than Madden's safety ratings?
Yes, I think so. CBS Sports. Toby, have you seen it yet?
I have not seen this list. I am excited for it.
This is by far, in my personal opinion, the worst list that has ever been made since we've been doing this podcast. Across all positions, even Madden. This is pitiful. And I'm sorry I'm slandering your list before I even mention your name, but I still want to give a shout out to Tyler Sullivan of CBS Sports. Thank you for coming up with this list. We love doing this, comparing our list to your guys's. I'm sorry, but I 100% highly disagree with what you have here. So, without further ado, I will reveal his list that I have so many questions for. So, I'll start by this. Number 10, he has Derwin James of the Los Angeles Chargers. At 9, he has Adrian Amos of the Packers. At 8, he has Harrison Smith. At 7, he has Marcus Williams of the Saints. At 6, he has Marcus May of the Jets. At 5, he has John Johnson III of the Browns. At 4, he has Jesse Bates of the Bengals. At 3, he has Minka Fitzpatrick of the Steelers. At 2, he has Tyrann Mathieu of the Chiefs. And at 1, he has Justin Simmons of the Denver Broncos.
Ooh.
Jump off a cliff.
Who, the guy who made the list?
No, whoever booed.
He might.
I think you know who.
Don't need to jump off a cliff, but he needs to redo some serious rethinking here. But I'll reveal mine since I'm talking the most. I'll go with mine, and so you can see how much we differ with our list, because that's just not it, as far as I'm concerned. So, with my list, at number 10, I have Micah Hyde of the Buffalo Bills. At 9, I have Marcus Williams of the Saints. At 8, I have Jesse Bates of the Bengals. At 7, I have Harrison Smith of the Vikings. At 6, I have Devin McCourty of the Patriots, not mentioned. At 5, I have Justin Simmons. At 4, I have Budda Baker of the Cardinals, not mentioned. At 3, Minka Fitzpatrick. At 2, Jamal Adams of the Seahawks, and at number 1, Tyrann Mathieu of the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right. Can I run with my list?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. 10, I got Kevin Byard, Tennessee Titan.
Kevin Byard was my 11. I want to put that in there.
See, 10, like 9, 10, and 11 for me all are kind of interchangeable. Because 10, I went Derwin James from the Chargers. And then 8, I went Harrison Smith. 7, I went Marcus Williams. 6, I went Buda Baker. 5, I went. I went Jesse Bates from the Bengals. 4, I went Justin Simmons. 3, I went Mika. I'm missing. I counted wrong. Because 1, I got Honey Badger.
Well, you're at 2, so who would have been your second?
I mean, are we considering?
For my 2, I had Jamal Adams.
Yeah, he kind of. Because wasn't he hurt a lot last season?
Jamal?
He was hurt for 4 games.
Okay, yeah, Jamal Adams second, Honey Badger first. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't justify I love Justin Simmons. Can't justify putting him top 3 in safeties in the league, even though we basically paid him like he is. But yeah.
No, Toby.
Couldn't leave Byard out the top 10. I think he's been phenomenal 2 seasons.
There's some names you guys mentioned that I do not have on mine. I want to get it out there. McCourty, Byard, Marcus Williams are just misses for me. But at 10, I've got Derwin James. And kind of controversially, hasn't been healthy really since he came into the league.
Couldn't put him in there.
I've got John Johnson for the Browns at number 9. Eddie Jackson from the Bears at number 8. I have Harrison Smith at 7. Buda Baker at 6. Jamal Adams at 5. Justin Simmons, 4. Jesse Bates at 3. Minka Fitzpatrick, 2. And Tyrann Mathieu, of course, at number 1.
Connor?
So I have at 10 Anthony Harris. Number 9, I have Micah Hyde. 8, I have Jesse Bates. 7, I have Harrison Smith. 6, I have Justin Simmons. 5, I have who was my 5? It just got deleted. I'll get back to you. 4, Jamal Adams. 3, Buda Baker. 2, Minka Fitzpatrick. And 1 was Honey Badger.
Well, I'm really interested to know who was your 5th to round out your top 5.
It was Devin McCourty because of my bias from when he was on my Madden team. I had to move him up a spot above Justin Simmons.
You're the worst. You're the worst analyst on the podcast.
All right, so we have
I love Devin McCourty.
we have a huge range of.
There's a lot of good safeties.
So Connor and I, because I was listening pretty closely. So Connor and I are the only ones that have Devin McCourty, I believe, on our lists. The CBS list is the only person to have Adrian Amos in it.
And Marcus May.
As well as Marcus May, who was number 6 for him. There was no Jamal Adams at all on the CBS Guys Sports list, as well as Buda Baker. He also, I believe Connor and I both had Micah Hyde. Kevin Byard, even though he's on my squad, actually did not make my list. He's still one of the best safeties in the league, but for his standards, he had a down year last year. The Titans secondary as a whole had a bad year last year. But I still think he would, like I said, he was my number 11 there. I think the biggest question for me personally, just kind of going through my list again, just Derwin James, just too injured for me. Yeah, he's a great player when he's there, but if you don't, at this point, he doesn't even play half a season. So for 2 straight years, you don't even play at least 8 games. You can't make my top 10. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are. If you don't play a combined 16 games in 2 seasons, I don't know. how you can make it. And maybe he did play the first. I'm forgetting exactly when he got hurt 2 seasons ago, but I know he didn't play the full at least a half a year last year. So just couldn't make it for me. I think he's a top 10 talent for sure, but I just couldn't do it. Someone else who just missed mine for me was Jordan Poyer. I think he's an absolute animal as well. So I had to consider him, but in the end, he did not make my list. I don't know what you guys have any other takeaways from other people's. Jason Bates also is a great player, but I think we're overhyping him just a tad.
Yeah, I think Jesse Bates, and I might have had a bias. I think he's individually one of the most underrated players in football because of where he plays. I think if you looked at numbers, there's very few safeties that have over 100 tackles, he allowed exactly a 70% passer rating, which is very rare amongst safeties. He makes plays on the ball, and he plays on a defense that really doesn't have a whole lot going for him. I mean, they don't have an elite pass rush. He pretty much is the last line of defense on a defense that has to use a last line of defense extremely often. So I rated him a lot higher than I think most people would have, because I don't think the general public gives him the due that I think a lot of people should.
What'd you have him out on your list?
He was fourth for CBS. What was he, third for you, Connor or Toby?
He was third for me.
Okay, I had him at 8.
Yeah, I just think it's a product of where he's from, because there's nothing numbers-wise, there's nothing film-wise that would indicate that he's worse than Justin Simmons, who I know is number one on a lot of experts lists. I don't see it. Justin Simmons, he allowed 7 touchdowns last year, which is the most of any safety. And I know he's asked to do a lot, but Bates is asked to do relatively the same amount over in Cincinnati. So for me,
I think a lot of people, not to cut you off, T, I think a lot of those rankings are what people are looking at the Broncos defense, the moves they've made in the offseason and the draft, and doing. Because, I mean, arguably, on paper, secondary-wise, you could make the argument that we've got the best secondary on paper. Now, how that plays out, in actual games is different. But I think we saw this in the past when we did CBS last year. A lot of those rankings are based on what they think they're going to do this year and not proven stuff.
Yes, because what I was just about to say in response to Toby with Justin Simmons is he's gradually gotten better every year. Only him and Honey Badger have the most interceptions since 2018. So Justin Simmons has only gradually gotten better. And Honey Badger, I think, was the number one on everyone's list here besides the CBS guys. So Justin Simmons is tied with him in far as production in that regard. So I think that is a big thing. For him, for some of these CBS lists, is what they think they're going to do. And I mean, for me, for my guys, Honey Badger, he's been there, done that. I think we know what he's going to do. And I don't think he's done anything to lose his spot. Same with Jamal Adams and Mika Fitzpatrick. People are going to talk about Jamal Adams in coverage. As a safety, he guards some other teams' number one receivers, so which some of those guys would never do. As great as Honey Badger is, he will never line up against Stephon Diggs or Julio Jones or Devontae Adams, So and Jamal Adams has done that before. So I think that kind of hurts him in some people's eyes, but I don't think any of those guys have done anything to lose their spot per se. So as great as Jesse Bates is, I don't think any of those guys have fallen off enough to warrant them getting to move down our list. So that's kind of why he's a little bit lower on mine.
And I mean, for me, because I had Adams at 5. So one thing that's not debatable.
Which is why McCourty's so high. I don't think he's been as great as he's been in previous years, but I don't think he's been bad enough to where you're like, oh man, I can't even put him there.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. Obviously, because we go back to our NFL special, you liked a lot of the older guys, even with the edge rushers, whereas I was looking at the guys going forward, which I think plays into this list as well. Jamal Adams, not debatably the best safety in the box. I mean, 9.5 sacks as a safety is ludicrous. 11 tackles for loss as a safety is ludicrous. And I mean, he blitzed 98 times last year, did Jamal Adams. So, like, he knows what he does. But there's other times when I watch him, and the digs, Buffalo's the game everybody looks to. I'm not even going to count that because I watched a top 10 corner, in my opinion, get absolutely mauled by Stephon Diggs and J.C. Jackson that last Monday night game. So I don't count that against Jamal Adams. But Jamal Adams, I thought by this point in his career, would have developed ball skills. I mean, because we're talking about Simmons, and one thing that we have for Simmons is that he gets a lot of interceptions. Simmons allows a lot of catches. Simmons allows a lot of touchdowns. Adams, not so much, but a lot of times he's blitzing. But he doesn't pick the ball off either. He doesn't play the ball. I look at the game against the LA Rams in the postseason when the Seahawks were bounced, and there were times when it would just Goff, who had a hurt arm, would just throw it up. He'd say, Cooper Kupp against Jamal Adams. I trust Kupp to go win that, which I don't think he could do against some of those safeties at the top. Fitzpatrick wouldn't have allowed it. Bates wouldn't have allowed it. So for me, it's tough because Jamal Adams is the best at one area, but he's also got some deficiencies in his game, and it's so hard for me to rank him because it's just whatever you ask of him. Because if you ask me,
you have to keep in mind
you could move this guy to linebacker, and he'd be a top 10 linebacker, Jamal Adams, because he's got that type of versatility. But yeah,
keep in mind too, we're doing a lot of comparing because we just did safeties overall. These are like Jamal Adams is a strong safety, whereas Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons are free.
Yes,
I was gonna say that was my biggest takeaway was that there's so many dudes eligible.
Which is why it's even more insane, in regards to the Honey Badger, who's a strong safety for as many interceptions as he gets, because he's a strong safety.
Yeah.
He's out there roaming to help in the box, and he still gets as many picks as anyone else. That's why Honey Badger's number one for me. So, like,
agreed.
And Honey Badger brings so much.
Chiefs better extend him. I'm gonna be pissed.
Honey Badger brings so much just intangible stuff.
He's just
he's the leader of the defense. He turned that defense from a liability to border top 10 defense in the NFL. Like,
let's make no mistake. As the years goes on, the Chiefs' defense is literally still going to be a liability. But
they were 11th last year.
He helps them in those bend don't break games. Every time the Chiefs need a big play, it's because some reason, somehow, some way, he affected the game. And I think
the players
have been lacking. And I think he has that effect of those players want to play better because they know he's going to hold them accountable. Now the defensive line, they just kind of disappeared throughout the season.
Sometimes put Uzis in their back seats.
Out of pocket.
You need to chill for that one.
Yeah, you're out of hand now.
But yeah, Honey Badger definitely the best safety, hands down.
Yeah, he's
small debate, but not a long.
Yeah, a little bit of debate, but he's right now he's kind of in a class of his own. And I mean, and he had a bad Super Bowl by his standards. Like he was getting routed up by Gronk, which never would you want to see. If it's one thing to get bodied by Gronk, you can't get routed by Gronk. That can't happen. But I mean, that's still, like I said, that still was not enough. That one individual game to knock him down off his throne.
And that's a tough matchup for any safety.
It is.
I think Jamal Adams, like we were saying, would have a better job with that matchup than a lot of guys. But that's a tough.
But Jamal Adams also built like a middle line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a tough matchup for a safety. Gronk is.
Yeah.
Also, anti-shout out to Madden. I don't even know what you'd call it. An anti-shout out for having Minkah Fitzpatrick the 10th rated safety.
Yeah, that.
Because we differed on a lot of players, but Minkah Fitzpatrick was top 3 for all of us, correct?
Yeah. Well, what I don't get is Madden didn't give a safety a 98 or higher. Like the highest was like 97, right? I don't get that. 90. Yeah, that's even worse. Like the safety position seems like one of the best in football right now.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I actually am pulling that up as we speak.
This is
some of these ratings I don't really understand. So yeah, Tyrann Mathieu was the overall number one safety at 95, followed by Buda Bates at 93. Devin McCourty, who was only on my and Connor's list, is 92. He's the third overall safety in the whole game. Jesse Bates was the fourth at 91. Justin Simmons fifth at 91. Harrison Smith that's at sixth with a 90. Jamal Adams was seventh with a 90. Adrian Amos, who only CBS named, was eighth. Eddie Jackson was 9. And then Minkah Fitzpatrick was 10. followed by Derwin James, and then Kevin Byard at 11-12.
I don't get that. How is it 95 and the 93?
Marcus May, who was 6th on the CBS Sports guys list, is ranked in 85. He's like the 15th highest safety.
Yeah. No, Marcus May was
17th. Excuse me. Marcus Williams, who I think made all of our lists,
except mine,
17, 18, 19, is ranked 20th in Madden.
Yeah, he wasn't quite on mine, but
if you have 9 more guys ahead of him in addition to the year 10, I'm sorry, that's just not.
No, maybe 3, maybe. The safety position is incredibly deep.
Yeah, it's very good, but
I guess they're not going.
The guys are very good, and the highest only gets a 95.
That's what I don't get. You're telling me that there's 4 receivers better than the best safety? Like, there's that big of a gap? Like, the receivers are getting 99.
I mean, hold on now. Let's simmer down a little bit.
In a way, dude, I don't know. Dudes like Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio, Tyreek Hill, they do some stuff that I don't think we've ever seen. They bring stuff that we've never seen before in the game. No disrespect to these current safeties, because, I think Honey Badger's great. I don't know if he brings us, like, all-time great. Like, I think Honey Badger, when it's all said and done, especially being a Super Bowl champion now, given his track record, assuming he keeps doing everything, he'll be a Hall of Famer one day. I think Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, these guys, Travis Kelce, these are first-ballot Hall of Famers. Like, hands down, they could be top 5 at their position of all time when it goes down.
But
I don't think we look at any of these safeties and say that quite yet.
But to Connor's argument,
is a better.
These guys do a lot more besides just cover wide receivers.
Oh, for sure. But that's supposed to simulate in Madden.
Correct. Which is why I would say it's hard to give them a 99. They do a lot of things that you can't simulate in a video game. Like a lot of the in-game adjustments and stuff that they make, and for Madden, that's user skill.
But so how are you corner a 99 and then a safety a 95 when I would argue the safety position's a lot better than the corner position right now?
Well, the safeties are you okay? I guess I don't want to say dumb it down, but to simplify this. On any given day, are you going to take Honey Badger and line him up against Julio Jones and not bat an eye at that matchup?
I would put Honey Badger in safety coverage when someone else is guarding Julio. I wouldn't put Honey Badger one-on-one with Julio Jones.
I think part of the Madden ratings, too, is because we've played it and we know what having a safety who's too good does to the game. Then you can't throw downfield. You can't throw over the middle or else you fumble the ball with that safety. So I think some of that is they heard people.
They be over there playing with the ratings like, this dude is too good.
Right. They probably said there's a lot here that's we need to bring it down. And maybe it's not fair to the players, but cornerbacks, I guess they said these guys get burnt too easy. We got to get 1 in 99.
I hate playing man in Madden.
We got to get 199 in there.
Listen, Scotty Miller, bro, first ballot Hall of Fame.
It's so dumb, bro. He's he was barely even a 70, and he's out here just dusting 88 overalls. That does not happen.
I didn't know Kevin King was 88 overall.
No, he is not. That's why he got this in real life.
But here's the thing: Jair Alexander is rated higher than Honey Badger, the highest safety. That's a crime.
But those guys are strictly in coverage.
Yeah, but
you can simulate that. What they do game to game literally translates to Madden. Playing a zone, covering me.
I would argue that the safety position had higher ratings because they also have to be your primary run stoppers in Madden because your corners do nothing against the run in Madden.
But what I'm saying is, for that stuff to translate to Madden, it's user skill.
Yeah, I guess
you would have to make that adjustment yourself.
That's why the computer is amazing, because that's the computer using the safety, and that's why they can cover basically 90 yards.
Also, what's annoying?
They cover everything that water don't cover on Earth.
Also, what's annoying in Madden is you can't really user a corner because half the time it's off the screen. like the corner user's off the screen, and so you get beat off the line.
If I ever play anybody who uses the corner in Madden,
If I don't win by at least 60, there's a problem.
like what?
Well, no, because I tried to make a like a career, like your like player career, as a corner just for fun, and I couldn't even see my guy on the screen.
You can change the camera, right?
My Connor's out of the Madden.
I know, but it's like the normal camera for Madden, you can't even see the corners on the screen off the jump.
No
So
wonder
it's like,
this man was getting.
No wonder you quit the league. Bro.
Yeah, no, he was getting toasted out there. That boy out there trying to be the corner in Madden. No,
sometimes
sir.
it's fun though, like to use when you're playing the computer.
He's saying that now.
You quit our league 3
He wasn't
weeks
saying
ago.
that
You
2
did not
weeks
have
ago.
fun.
If you're playing another person, I wouldn't use the corner. But if you're playing the computer, like in a player career, it can be
You
fun to
quit
be.
because of the computer.
What?
You quit because of the computer. You hadn't even played a user
You guys
match.
put it on the dumb difficult. There was a lot of issues. I'm talking
Yeah.
about lower difficulty, just for fun, low stress.
To wrap this up in a nice bow, because we've gone overtime, we're gonna spare you this week, Creed. But we won't have a Creed moment. Your Creed moment is you quitting the Madden League. There's your Creed moment. So when 2 weeks into the season,
My Creed moment for the week would have been excellence and domination, and it would have been the USA winning the Gold Cup over Mexico.
yeah, whatever.
Why is that? That's not what the Creed moment is.
Yes, it is.
My
And I just-
anti-Creed moment is Messi in a boss move, moving over to PSG. Let's get it, Paris Saint-Germain. I love French.
Oh, did you hear the other PSG news?
What's that?
Kevin Durant's next chapter.
We don't
All
want. We don't
That's a
want.
wrap. Put a ball on it.
He just beat France.
We don't want him in soccer.
This man, bro, Connor was.
Oh, we don't want them. But what I do know, a lot of you guys do want is our T-shirts. Hit us any 4 of us up if you guys are wanting some new merch. I got some more shirts on the way. I just need to know your what size and what color. Again, they come in blue, black, white, and gray. So let us know which.
Can I get my own T-shirt? What we doing?
Well, I haven't seen you in forever in person, so yes, I'll get you yours. But
No,
for the people out
I guess
there,
I'll see you
we're worried
tomorrow.
about Monte's needs. I'm worried about your guys' needs and your Sports Resort T-shirts. Hit us up if you guys are needing some. I want to thank you guys for listening to this great episode. Connor just ruined it with whatever.
Yeah, what the heck was that?
But, all 4 of us on here. There's nothing better than when all of us are on here. The Sports Resort. We're in the middle of making this the best sports podcast.
I'm out here dancing like he can
world.
be on Shark Tale.
So yeah, we've been out here too long. We're getting out of pocket.
Down here at the bottom, at the bottom corner, you guys can see Connor's boxing Nick Wright for worst analyst when it comes to Olympic basketball.
Bunch of
It's
Chiefs.
great. Did you tell us Luca for gold medal?
Oh man,
Just like Nick Wright.
Jeez. Jeez.
Down bad.
So bad, down bad. Also, real quick too, before we end this, stay tuned. We're streaming. We're getting there. We're coming. Okay, we're on our way. We got some things coming your guys' way. You guys are gonna have a ball with this one. This is gonna be hilarious. You think we're crazy on here? Just wait till we get on the mic and say things we probably shouldn't say. I'm just fair warning there. But yeah, no, definitely stay tuned. Our Sports Resort Gaming channel will be up coming soon, so stay tuned to that. I want to thank you guys for listening. Episode 48 has been a great one.